605 BC. And when he would have read of these events and people would have spoken of them, they would have said to one another, it's amazing what is happening with these Babylonians. And then God lays this burden on him and he says, you know what's happening with the Babylonians? I am raising up the Babylonians, that ruthless and impetuous people. In other words, God reveals that the momentous historical events that are unfolding in Habakkuk's lifetime are under God's sovereign control. May I just say parenthetically that the momentous historical events which are unfolding in our lifetime are equally under God's sovereign control. God is not watching, as it were, from the ramparts of heaven to see how history is unfolding. He isn't doing it today, and he wasn't doing it then. And in verses 6 to 11, we essentially have a poem. I'm going to leave it for you to read. You can memorize it if you want. It doesn't scan particularly well, but I tried to read it in my best English, in a way that my English teacher at the grammar school in Oakley would have been proud of. I hope you caught something of it. But you will notice that at the very heart of it are these striking statements. Verse 7, the character of the Babylonians, they are a feared and a dreaded people, a law to themselves, and promote their own honor. And so he describes in rich poetic form the horses swifter than leopards, fiercer than wolves at dusk. I was just with a friend who told me that he goes wolf hunting in Alaska. And as Sue and I listened to this description, it was clear to me that wolves are a remarkable species. And you're going to have to be very, very good if you think you're going to do anything to inhibit their progress. The Babylonians came like wolves at dusk, their horsemen flying from afar. Verse 10, when they come on these various cities and when they bump up against these other little rulers, they just deride them. They scoff at rulers. They laugh at all the fortified cities. They build earthen ramps. You've got the picture of them moving ground material and moving the material and creating ramps, and then using the ramps as a launching pad for them being able to force their way into the citadels of the time and take them over and establish their control. But the prophet needs to know of their destiny. And in verse 11, we're told that then they sweep past like the wind and they go on. But they're guilty men whose own strength is their God. Now, in that section, what is happening is that God is answering the request of Habakkuk. He's letting him know that he, that is God, is at work, even though the prophet can't see it. He's letting him know that although the prophet is asking, why aren't you doing something? He is doing something. He is always at work. God is always at work. And so it was that far, far away from where Habakkuk was living, in Babylon, the events were unfolding, momentous events that were going to change the course of world history. Habakkuk couldn't see that, not until God opened his eyes to it. And even as he does, it is so amazing, it is so unbelievable that he stumbles over it as we're about to see. That the rise of Babylon wasn't as a result of some unique political strategy, but was as a result of God's sovereign design. And when you just pause for a moment and think about that, and put it in contemporary terms, and view the little history in which we live, and the time in which we've lived. For myself, post-Second World War, 7 years after the end of the Second World War, and all the way through until today. All the things that those of us of the same vintage have lived through. The rise and fall of various groups and plans and dreams. The collapse of the Berlin Wall. The opening up of borders once closed. The meeting of people from places in the world that we thought we would never meet people and never see because they were closed off, they were unavailable. I just met somebody the other day from Albania, and I said to her, "Are you an atheist?" And she said, "But no." And I said, "Well, do you know anything of God?" She said, "No," because you will remember that Albania was the great atheist country in the world, the one country that Christianity would never, ever penetrate. Today its borders are open, and today there are people worshiping God in the very heart of Albania. And so we stand back from our newspapers and we talk together about the multicultural nature of our world, about the ascendancy of China, about the phenomenal wealth of India, about their tremendous technology in the internet world and in the realm of computers and all these other things. And we look at our own dwindling empires, and we see the destruction of the auto industry, and we see Detroit a shadow of what it once was, and people bemoan and complain and wonder and worry and spill their coffee over their morning newspapers as they put their hands over their eyes, unwilling to see any more of it happen at all, forgetting all the time that God is sovereign over all these things too, and that His designs are different from our designs. He doesn't think as we think. He doesn't plan as we plan. He is not preoccupied with the trivial issues that focus our agendas. And again, the hymn writer helps us, doesn't he, Cowper? For a different reason, but the verse is good. Deep in unfathomable minds of never-failing skill, He treasures up His bright designs and works His sovereign will. You see, that's what Habakkuk needed to learn in his day, and the benefit of reading again the prophecy is being reminded of it in our own day. But you know, here's the exciting thing, and it just occurred to me this afternoon when I was thinking of this again. As I was thinking about all the dreadful aspect, if you like, of God raising up the Babylonians, all of these wolf-like characters and doing all these dreadful things in relationship to the people of God. And I decided I would go back and look at the beginning of Daniel just to see how Daniel began. And I was so delighted to discover how it begins. And you'll be delighted too. Because look at how it starts. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim. You remember Jehoiakim from just a couple of moments ago? Remember what God said would happen to Jehoiakim? That's what Habakkuk has discovered, and that's what Habakkuk is going to have to share. The king of Babylon came to Jerusalem and besieged it, and the Lord delivered Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand. And as you read on, they brought all these fine young people into the place with them, dragging them away from Judah, families, nobility, young men without any physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of learning, well-informed, quick to understand, qualified to serve in the king's palace. Well, that's what I would do as well. You go in there and you rampage and you steal, you might as well steal the brightest and the best. And so they did.
It's evident that there's much more to hear in this study in Habakkuk. Alistair Begg will continue the message, Look and Be Amazed, next weekend on Truth for Life. This complete series on the Old Testament book is titled No Simple Answers, and you're invited to contact us for a copy. You'll find 4 messages included in this study, and you can purchase them on CD from our website. Look for No Simple Answers online at truthforlife.org. If you're not in a position to buy the CDs, remember we've made it possible for you to download the audio files without cost or obligation. Simply go to the Resource Center online, and you can browse through the wide variety of free materials available to help you in your study of God's Word. Now, the Resource Center is made possible in part by the generosity of people just like you in our listening family who give, people like our Truth Partners. A truth partner is someone who shares our passion for teaching the Bible with clarity and relevance and has committed to giving a donation to this ministry every month. To become a Truth Partner today, give us a call at 888-58-TRUTH or write to Truth for Life, P.O. Box 39 8000, Cleveland, Ohio, 44139. We appreciate your support, and when you give a donation, we'd like to express our gratitude by providing a book called What is the Gospel? This is a hardcover book, more than 100 pages long, written by Pastor Greg Gilbert. Comes highly recommended by Alistair Begg and the Truth for Life team as a tool to help you better understand, treasure, and share the good news of the Bible. Give a donation and request a copy of the book What is the Gospel by going online to truthforlife.org or give us a call at 888-588-7884. You'll also find information about the book on our website. When you visit, be sure to click on the links to the interviews with the author, and there you can watch videos of Pastor Greg Gilbert describing his purpose for writing the book and his passion for telling people about salvation in Jesus Christ. Again, you can find it at truthforlife.org. We look forward to hearing from you and sharing these helpful resources. Remember, you can always browse our website for items that'll keep you focused on God's Word. The book, What is the Gospel, is available, as well as teaching CDs and email devotionals. Look for these resources and more at truthforlife.org. Join us again next weekend to hear Alistair Begg's message from Habakkuk called Look and Be Amazed. That's right here on Truth for Life Weekend, where the learning is for living.